If you see what we can see, then adventure waits for all of us. There's a place that we should be. Come along, 'cause it's high tide and we can't lose. Come and drift away with us.
There's one question that we get asked a lot that I just want to take 2 minutes just to talk through to you, and that's the tides, because a lot of people don't understand the tidal situation that we're in, because you see us quite a lot walking across to the boat, but then you also see us sometimes when it's floating. So we have a real tidal range. So at the moment it's low tide, and that is a low tide today is a 1.3 meters. So that is literally, as you can see, doesn't come anywhere near us. So at low tides we can walk to the boat. Then at high tides the range ranges so much. So at a 7.7 meter tide we can still walk to the boat. It just about touches us, and anything over 7.7 meters we're wet to the grass on the starboard side. So we have to time being able to get on and off according to the tides. But then on a spring tide, where we park the car all the way over there, the water gets all the way over to there. So we can't even park the car on the road. It literally goes that far. So I'll show you that. So on a spring tide, all of this grass is covered, and even all of this road. So you can see that it is quite a lot. So, see if I can do something clever. This is this week's tide table.
Not me.
So today, high tide is at 3:30, and it's going to be at 8.9. So an 8.9 is going to cover quite a lot of that grass. I don't know whether we'll float. I think we need to be...
I think we float.
An 8.9.
Yeah.
We should do, shouldn't we? I think it's anything above that, we float. And the boat does come up and it does move off the floor.
It's quite hard to show you that because there's water below us.
Yeah. Obviously, we've had a GoPro down there, but the water's that muddy, you can't really see anything.
Well, in fact, the way to show that actually is we'll get the level now. We'll show you where the level is.
Yeah.
And then we'll show you, because obviously
Later on.
we're actually listing slightly, because sometimes depending on which way the wind goes out, last time she floated.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll set up a level now, we'll take a picture of that, and then we'll see how that changes when we're floating. But we don't really feel that we're floating too much, do we? Unless a big boat comes past, or us being idiots run from side to side on the boat, and then you can feel it.
She only moves a tiny bit though, doesn't she?
She's quite stable.
No, she's so stable.
There's only ever, in the whole sort of 9 months we've had the boat, there's only one time where I've gone, whoa, and that was like when a real fast boat sped past.
I think Steve come past like on his
and that was like,
flat out.
it was like, wow, we're floating.
She's alive. Yeah, it was good.
So I hope that clears that up for you guys.
Can I just have a reason I come up? Because a spring tide isn't just in spring, which I thought it was.
We've learned a lot.
Oh my god, I didn't even know that the tide's buried.
No.
I just accepted the fact that was like...
It's such a variation here as well.
The water comes in, the water goes out. Yeah. We've got a big range, we've got a 10 metre range.
10
so
metres,
it goes
it's
plus
a
and minus.
lot.
There's a huge amount of water.
Yeah.
But we're, as Jem pointed out, we're right at the upper end of the water, so we only float
when it's high.
Which is good, it's great for us. Yeah. So we're on the soggy hard, aren't we?
Yeah. So you'll see later on, so for your reference, you've seen that little chart table that I've just put on. I'm gonna insert that.
I saw that.
Yeah, you see that?
It's crazy.
So we'll show you outside later at high tide, so you can see what that looks like.
Maybe you could stand out there and like, yeah, it's one Gemma.
One Gemma. So stop talking. And just a bit of knowledge, and hopefully it answers a lot of questions that you guys have had. So there we go.
1:30.
1:30. So we're now two hours off high tide, and we can't carry on with the being outside because the ground's wet.
Sometimes on the app though, it's an hour out.
Yeah,
we've been caught out by this before.
Yeah, so
we could be like.
Sometimes it takes into account, obviously summer daylight savings things, the hour, and sometimes it doesn't. So high tide's either at 3:30 or 2:30, because it's either an hour away or 2 hours away. But yeah, as you can see, hopefully that gives you a bit more of an understanding as to the tidal range that we're dealing with, and the time before high tide and the time after high tide. So, you know, people sort of think that we are just jumping from one job to another. It's because we're working round tides. We can't work outside when we've got water. So sometimes we will randomly go from doing that job to doing something else because we've got to work around the elements that we're in. Half an hour ago, you could see the mud. So it's coming in really, really fast. This is our technical setup to see if the boat's floating today. So we've got the other camera sat on a box of wipes, and then we've got the level here. So there's the bubble. So it's 2 o'clock now. So I'll just keep checking back in, and hopefully we'll be floating soon. We have started to hear a few creaks, which what we hear before we start floating. So I think in the next half an hour, potentially we'll be floating, so we'll keep an eye on that bubble. Right, do you want to see if we're floating? Hey! Show me how you do it. Whoa, I can feel it.
Hello.
Yeah? Yay.
No?
Yeah?
No.
We're proper rocking. So we have been slightly at an angle. Not that much where you walk around, you know, when you can feel it. So we're just trying to move as much weight as we can to the starboard side. So when the water drops, we'll come down a little bit more level. But let's say you don't walk around feeling like you're a bit drunk. but yeah, so there you go. There's a lot of questions to be answered. Does your boat float? Yes, she does. When the tide's high enough. Like today. So right.
Yay!
I'm back.
I'm just looking just to see how much like. Just moved, doesn't it? Moves quite a bit, like. Cool. Move more when you come over, right?
Cheeky. So there we go. The boat floats. Yay!
If you see what we can see, then adventure waits for all of us. There's a place that we should be. Come along, 'cause it's high tide and we can't lose. Come and drift away with us. Come and drift away with us again. So now that you're on board, let the love we share take hold of you as we move a little more. Come along, 'cause it's high tide and we can't lose. Come and drift away with us. There's 1,000 dreams between us, and we're reaching for the